Hi there, welcome to the channel, and I am Danny. I'm so glad that you are here. Today we're talking about Steven Pressfield's book, The War of Art. This is part two. I had a part one. I'll put the link in the description if you're interested, but they both stand on their own, so watch it or don't. Of course, totally up to you. Okay, so I've been reading this book, and of course it is the right book at the right time for me. As everything seems to be, right? Just came up, someone mentioned it, and then someone else mentioned it, and then you're like, okay, I better take note, and then we knew it was time to read it. It's a short book. It only takes a couple of hours, an afternoon or two to read. I'm a slow reader, so I probably read it in a couple of days, maybe an hour or two at a time. And so, but it's very good. It's the right thing at the right time. And a couple of my takeaways, which I feel like are pretty universal for anyone who is what I just call like on the journey, right? Like there are a lot of people who live lives day to day and are pretty happy with where they are, happy or resigned, or people who are in a lot of struggle and really that struggle to survive. You know, for many people, this kind of work and this kind of stuff isn't even something that they have time or that they have the energy or the whatever to pursue. They're too busy, you know, working two jobs. Or I know when I was young and a mom, I would, you know, get up, get the kids ready, go to work, come home. I was married, but my ex wasn't very involved in all that kind of stuff. So I would pretty much do everything. I'd come home from a long day at work and I would cook dinner, and then I would do the dishes, and then I would start some laundry and read the kids the books and give the kids the baths and put the kids to bed, and basically did it all. And I had no time for shit like this. I was still into self-development work, but back then it was much more about, I remember one of the first self-help books I ever read was called When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. And it was amazing. It blew my mind at the time. And I'll put a link to it in the description if you want, just for anyone who is in this boat. But I was like, I can say no. I was such a people pleaser that it blew my mind that someone would actually like ask a spouse to do something, and then the spouse would say, well, that doesn't really work for me to do that. No, thank you. You know, I'm good. It never occurred to me. I'm such a codependent people pleaser, but there's been a lot of ground covered since then. But of course, you know, we're always still working in progress. I am, you know, in many ways kind of a baby on the path, like to some extent we all are, just trying to find my way. But this book is helping me, and I find Steven Pressfield's kind of straightforward way very good. For example, in the first part of the book, he lays out all these things. This is what resistance looks like. And he takes like a page or two on each topic and just like breaks it down on why it is resistance and why he kind of invalidates it, or just kind of walks your logical brain kind of through it, why it's resistance. Like when he was talking about, I think I wrote it down here. When he was talking about being a victim, he basically says, you know, if you're stuck in victimhood, then just stop, you know, just stop that. And I thought at first I was upset at him because I was like, I have spent years trying to overcome victimhood, okay? I felt myself very much a victim, and in my younger days. And whether it was, you know, my parents' fault or my ex-husband's fault or whoever's fault it was, you know, I felt like a victim. I felt trapped and I felt powerless. And that was a lot of stuff I needed to work through. But Pressfield just dumps it in his book, and it's like a page and a half on victimhood and how you should just stop it. And I thought, well, that's completely invalidating. I've done a lot of work and come through a lot. And then I was like, you know what? The magic of it for me, how it helps shift my perspective is, yes, if you feel completely trapped and completely stuck in victimhood, You're not going to get out of it by reading this one thing by Stephen Pressfield. But if you have done enough work around it and you're freed enough from it, you can look at it and say, one of his things is to set down time to work on your creativity or your art, whatever your art is, whatever you want to create, whether it's the life that you want, whether you're a writer, whether you're an artist, a baker, whatever it is that you want to create or share with the world or do for your own growth, whatever. That is your art. So you set aside time to simply work on that, and you consistently work on it. You make it the priority and you do the work. That's one of the beautiful things about this book. And what he's saying is, during that time, it's like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. It's time for me to start the work. Any excuse I may have around victimhood right now at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to set that aside. And I am just going to do the work right now because that's what I'm committed to. That's what I put on my weekly schedule. I have a block of time. And even if I'm not feeling inspired, and even if I'm not feeling this or that way about it, I'm going to sit down and do the work. That is my commitment. And so for me, that was an easy enough thing to think, okay, I still may have work to do around victim or around not being completely empowered. I may still have work to do as far as more self-love and self-confidence. But when it's 9 o'clock on Tuesday, that is my time. And I set aside any excuse that I may have, whether it's rooted in victimhood, whether it's rooted in not feeling well, any kind of self-sabotage I can come up with. And let me tell you, I'm a master. Anyone else out there a master at self-sabotage? Because I really am. And for Pressfield to basically put any form of self-sabotage that you might have or you might think of in this book, call it resistance and say, it's going to come up, whatever your issue, whatever your story, whatever your reason, it's going to come up, it's going to sound valid, do the work anyway. That was very empowering for me to hear at this time where I am right now. Now, to some people, they're like, well, I can't just do it because I have this other stuff. And then other people are like, well, duh, of course you have to sit down and do the work. I'm saying for where I am in my development right now, this is a powerful reminder, and it's giving me a lot of empowerment to stay focused on doing the work of creating these dreams, of creating what I want in my life. So I'm loving the war of art. Was there anything else I wanted to say? Oh, I wanted to say that I think Pressfield talks about Socrates too, or I don't know if he just mentioned the idea and it seems like that came from Socrates, right? But it's the idea that you only have freedom to the level, to the extent, to the point where you have self-mastery. Because if you don't have self-mastery, then even if you're given freedom, you are just like in these conditioned ways of being, and they are going to keep taking over, and you don't have the power to make those changes that you want to do or see in your life. So self-mastery is vitally important. One of the big things working on right now. And so if you're interested in stuff like this is the stuff that I'll be kind of tackling, kind of sharing. I love discussion. I love to talk about it. If you want to share anything, please do. You can share, I think I need to go back and read a little more Socrates, a little more of the, what are they? The Stoics, Stoicism, what do they call that? Something like that. But Stoicism, studying the Marcus Aurelius and that kind of stuff, I think is going to be really good for me during this time of my life when I'm really being more focused and intentional about creating what I want in my life coming up. And so, good. So if you like this video, then hit the like button. And if you love it, hit the subscribe button with the little bell. And if you know anyone else who might love it, then maybe share it. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.